Today I'll be demonstrating a sterile dressing change technique, and I've gone ahead and performed hand hygiene and donned my clean gloves. So I'm going to first verify my physician's orders, and I do have an order to perform a sterile dressing change once daily and as needed. So I'm going to second verify my patient ID with two identifiers, name and date of birth, and then at that point I'm ready to start the dressing change. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully remove the old dressing. And while I'm doing this, I'm checking on first the amount of drainage and the quality of drainage on the pads that I'm removing. And I'm also checking the incision for signs of infection, such as inflammation and redness, swelling, making sure that there's no signs of dehiscence. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this old dressing in a biohazard bag. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove my clean gloves and discard them and perform hand hygiene. Now I'm ready to go ahead and set up my sterile field. So I'm going to set it up on my patient's bed and carefully fold away from me first. Touch only the outer edges of my field to maintain sterility. And then I'll be ready to go ahead and take my sterile gloves out of the pack first, and I'm going to set them up over here. Taking care not to turn my back on my sterile field. I still have it in my line of sight. And now I'm ready to apply the new dressing. So I can go ahead now that I have my sterile gloves on and open up all of my supplies onto my sterile field. I'm going to go ahead and place some gauze in my basin for my sterile saline to saturate. I'm going to get my dry gauzes ready to dry and replace, and open up my pad that I'll need to complete the dressing change. Get it spread out just like that. And now I'll be ready to break sterility on my non-dominant hand, and I'll open my saline and go ahead and pour it into the container with the gauze, making sure not to compromise my sterile field. With my sterile hand, now I'll go ahead and clean the incisional wound, and I'm going to clean from inside to out, from clean to dirty. So I'm going to wipe once and discard, and then I'm going to get my second one, wipe once, discard. Now I can take my dry gauze and I'm going to pat dry in the same manner from in to out and discard. Pat dry, discard. Now I can take my other gauze that I need to redress with per the orders. I'm just going to place them onto the wound like so. And now I'm going to get my pad to be ready to put over the gauze, just like that. Now I can go ahead and take my tape and secure the new dressing onto the wound. And now that my new dressing is well secured, I can go ahead and remove my gloves at this point. And I would go on to document how the patient tolerated the procedure. I would document the time and date of the dressing change, the materials that I used, and I would also come behind myself and initial on the dressing and the date that it was placed.